everybody, welcome to Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is our Smallpox deck. So this deck is great. The entire point of this deck is to very straightforwardly cast Smallpox. And what Smallpox does is it makes each player lose a life, discard a card, sack a creature, and sack a land. So we have a lot of ways to mitigate that. We have Blood Ghasts in our deck. That's not so bad to sack or discard. We have Lingering Souls. Don't mind discarding that one. We have Flagstones of Traquair, which is a sweet one because when it goes to our graveyard from play, we had to go get a land out of our deck and force and replace itself, and that's something our opponents don't get to do. So we're playing against Burn here. We Inquisitioned Borosham immediately, and actually we had to sequence our lands in a weird way here to cast both Smallpoxes, but here's what we did. We went turn 1 Godless Shrine so that we could cast Inquisition. This turn we're going to play Fetid Heath, and that allows us to make black for Smallpox and sacrifice the Godless Shrine. Smallpox is obviously just going to wreck him. Then on our next turn we can play Flagstones of Traquair and run out our second Smallpox, sacrificing the Flagstones after we use it to filter into black from Fetid Heath. So it's a little weird to not just run out the Flagstones. But this sequencing allowed us to go turn 1 Inquisition, turn 2 Smallpox, turn 3 Smallpox. And playing against Burn, after that, we just have to find a way to win the game because this is going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with. Obviously, we get to kind of live the dream here with this Smallpox. Discarding doesn't matter to us. We have plenty to discard. But we get to get their land, we get to get their Grim Lavamancer, we get to get a card out of their hand, and then we get to do it again next turn. So, all in all, pretty good for us. Alright, he had land to discard, but now he's basically starting this game at 3 cards in hand, and we're at 17, so that's not great for them. No, he may not even have another land here, we'll see. Our opponent in chat says, Step 1, mold to 5. Step 2, get Smallpoxed. Step 3, go to game 2. I appreciate that attitude. It is not fun to get Smallpox out of a game, that's for sure. But I like Step 1, mold to 5. Step 2, get Smallpox. Step 3, go to game 2. Absolutely, let's go to game 2. Alright, game 2, huh? We get Collective Brutality. I think the rest, our deck's actually pretty good against their deck here. I don't mind cutting an Anguished Unmaking. Thoughtseize is actually fine. Yeah, it loses you 2 life, and, hey, you don't want to lose life against Burn. But the card you're taking would always do you more than 2, so it's still worth it most of the time, right? It's obviously a bad top deck. Let's see here. Dark Blast, not very good. Doesn't really kill anything they do. Surgical, I don't think we care about. Obviously, Stony Silence, Shadow of Doubt, those don't do much. Fulminator Mage doesn't do anything. Damnation, Doesn't do damage to us with Eidolon, but whatever. Leyline of the Void also doesn't seem to matter much. Our deck's decently positioned against Burn. I think Collective Brutalities, of course, are the most key card in the matchup, but really what we want to do is find a win condition along with our ways to mess them up. This hand's pretty iffy, but I'm going to keep it. It's slow, it's not great. But it's got a lot of good things going for it, which means a lot of discard spells and a Flagstones to go along with the Smallpox. So obviously we're going to need to find another black source here. But if we do, it should actually be pretty good for us. Also, the way I look at this hand is it's sort of a high upside hand, although it certainly comes with risk. And a lot of people might mull here, and I think that there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And I know that I know that you're not supposed to look at it and say, hey, we're up a game. But in my opinion, sometimes it's okay to say, we can keep a more risky hand here because the payoff is higher, and it's not just putting our entire tournament on the line. And maybe that's incorrect, but and look how well it paid off. We have the dream. Yeah. Okay. I don't care about your Searing Blaze much. I probably do care about your Lightning Helix that you actually can't cast though. Maybe we just take the Lava Spike. Because I want him to just play Eidolon and get it Smallpoxed. That's the most value here, even though we will take damage from the Eidolon as a result. I think it's probably just the Lava Spike. This also forces him into playing the Eidolon. Which he probably would have done anyways, but say he'd drawn another Lava Spike or Swiss Fury, he might have done something like that instead. Alright, well let's go ahead and live the dream here. Man, Herbpork's so good in this deck. Turns Flagstones into a swamp so we can use it to cast Smallpox. But at the same time, we still get to do everything we want with the Flagstones. Alright, discard a card, huh? I'm going to discard this Thoughtseize. It seems not likely to matter a lot. In some ways we are doing a lot of work for him. And with this, like, we dealt ourselves 3 damage with that spell, but we also killed one of his creatures. We destroyed one of his 2 lands, and now we get to play Shambling Vent on our next turn. Inquisition him, hopefully catch a card out of his hand. He might be out of cards depending on what he has here. He's got the Lightning Helix up. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and start things off with this Inquisition. Gonna Helix us. That's fine. We'll go to 11. Alright, he's got a land. So we get to play this game at 11 life. And our opponent top decking. So that's pretty good for us, I think. He's got to find 4 burn spells, or 3 if he has a Boros Charm involved. But we get to play Gideon. Then we get to just activate Shambling Vent, and it's only going to take 1 or 2 Shambling Vent hits in the game. So I think we've got this one pretty well locked up here. We take a pretty perfect sequence of draws from our opponent. Basically, I would say he needs, Lightning Bolt us down to 8. Next turn when we activate Shambling Vent, have the fetch land plus Searing Blaze to hit us again. Even that doesn't. So it would need to be like Boros Charm, Searing Blaze, Boros Charm. Okay, we'll just go ahead and activate this thing. Plus our Gideon. This deck turns the corner surprisingly fast. I guess Gideon turns the corner surprisingly fast, right? That's the whole point. He might have the Searing Blaze here for the Shambling Vent. Not that that really matters to us. Yeah, he does. Okay. Well, that was step 1 for him. The problem is we're still hitting him for a bunch. And we're still going to do the same thing next turn. So he can't... He has to have, like, another Searing Blaze or something. I don't think I'll be Thoughtseizing here. So yeah, this game's pretty over, I believe. Shambling Vent doing work. This creature land is so good in Modern. It's like understated good because, Raging Ravine a lot of times, right, will win games on its own. Creeping Tar Pit will win games on its own. Shambling Vent just like quietly does a lot of work. Sort of similar. Hissing Quagmire is another one that, with the death of traditional Jund due to Death Shadow, it doesn't come up quite as often. But that lane just sort of quietly does a lot of good work. So does Stirring Wildwood. But Shambling Vent's a really awesome addition to the sort of the pantheon of creature lands in Modern. All right, Skullcrack is down to 5. Problem is we go back up to 7. So he needs lightning. It needs to be exactly light. It needs to be exactly a bolt spell plus Boros Charm. Because we got Skullcrack, so we didn't gain life. That's fine. But either way, you needed 2 burn spells there, and didn't have them. So burn taken down. This Smallpox deck is doing pretty well, guys. I'm pretty happy with how this is performing. I like it quite a bit. Great deck. Let's play some more.